Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and this is another episode of my Out of the Park Baseball 18 playthrough with the Phillies. And I believe it's on episode 18, which would be kind of ironic, as this may be the last episode I'll have for the Out of the Park 18 playthrough, unless something really miraculous happens and we make the playoffs. Right now, we're standing at 74 and 75, so we've improved quite a bit. We're just one game under 500, and we've got, what is it, about 2 weeks left to play. If you look at how we've done since that last episode, we had a really good August. You know, we were competitive in July. We were 13 and 12, 17 and 11 in August. We've been a little shaky in September, 8 and 8. We had some tough series against Miami, who we're about to play again on the road, New York on the road, that really hurt us. We've improved overall in some of these batting stats, some of the standings in terms of the National League. Pitching has been our strong, that's where we've really been better. The only thing that's struggled a little bit is that starters ERA, but we've had some pretty good performances overall from some starters. For instance, going back to the home screen, Lockfeld has 18 wins right now, so he's got a chance to get 20. And I haven't had too many 20-game winners in this playthrough, so that would be a pretty big milestone. Another thing that's happened, we're in the September call-up period, and one of the guys I called up from the minors, Luis Urrutia, who I picked up in trade last offseason. I traded one of my second base prospects for him, and his ratings are not that great in terms of the star ratings, but he has some potential, and he's looked good. He looked good in the minors at AAA, and so far in 3 starts with me, he's 21 innings, 11 hits, 4 walks, 25 strikeouts, a 171 ERA, whip well below 1. So I'm hopeful that this guy can maybe turn it around. I like his ratings because he's got 4 pitches, and 3 of them are pretty strong. If he can just improve a little bit on the movement, he might turn out to be a good starter. My scout says he's maybe a back-end starter, but he could work his way up at 24. He's got some room to grow. He might could work his way up to mid-rotation material. He's a 3-star potential from OSA. And then the lineups in terms of who's batting pretty well. I still like this first baseman. I still like the development he's going through. Sluzarek is off the DL and playing a little bit worse than he was before he went on. Sean Barge is having another good year, and he's showing some power, which I thought going into the season, I thought that might be the case, and he's almost up to 30 home runs right now. Devers went through a 22-game hitting streak at one point between when I stopped simming and now, and that's the longest hitting streak in the National League so far this year. Mast is having a good productive year, and then of course Juan Ochoa, his averages down a little bit. He's not going to be a high average hitter, but his power's there. He's up to 32 home runs. That's, I think, his 5th year. So he's in his 5th full year in the majors, and he's hit well over 30 every year for me. So he's keeping up that pace. And then the rest of the league, no real surprises, except I still think the Yankees are going to make it. They were picked high in the preseason to make it. But Tampa Bay is having one of their best years in this playthrough, and they've already won. So I started in 2017. I'm now up to 2029. They've won 2 World Series, 2 or 3 World Series already. They've been in several, and they're looking like they might be favorites again this year. Detroit's holding it down in the Central, and then Oakland is still, they're keeping the Astros pretty far back in the West. And then Miami has started playing strong again. They overtook the Mets. They're 5 games up, so they're in a good spot right now. Magic number is 9. Milwaukee, once again, leading the Central. And then San Diego, once again, leading the West, but that's a little bit close right now. That could turn into a close race down the stretch. The players, Justin Bellinger, who I remember one time early in the playthrough, I was saying that this guy is probably one of the best overall offensive players I've seen in this playthrough, but it looked like he might be starting to slip a little bit. He's back to his strong pace. I mean, he's leading the league in home runs again. His average is down from what it was earlier in his career, but he's going to make a run at 500 home runs. He's got a couple more years left on his contract. He might be a good, I wouldn't say a lock for the Hall of Fame, but I think he's going to have a good chance at it in this playthrough. He's been really strong all throughout his career. And then couple of pitching things that I wanted to highlight. Yannick Lopez is just having a phenomenal year, 19-1, over 200 strikeouts. This is going to be a career year for him. I think he's got a good chance of winning his first Cy Young Award. And I think this guy, if anyone else comes close to him, it's probably this guy. He's looking like he's a dominant pitcher, developed into a dominant pitcher in the American League. And that's one of the reasons I'm sure Tampa Bay is winning is that guy and maybe a few others on their staff. And then for us in the National League, I already mentioned Devers' hit streak. So his hit streak, Lockfeld leading the league in wins. And then a couple guys, Vargas and Lewis, leading the league in stolen bases. Maybe Vargas can wind up leading the league. That would be something positive to take into the offseason. But I'm really looking to at least get above 500 for the year. We're currently 4.5 games out of the playoff race, and that's going to be tough to catch with all those teams in front of us. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're opening up against two of our toughest teams in the East. Start off in Miami and then finish up in New York. Let's see how we do. And first game, a 1-0 shutout. Mass may have been the big hero in that one, a solo home run. Shrimsher picked up his 13th win. He's pitching a lot better. That's a solid line from him. And then Corey Line, another positive. Corey Line was the pitcher of the month for August. So moving him to the closer role has definitely paid off. He's been really sharp in that role. So a good win there for us. And the Yankees are going to make the playoffs. So game 2, this could get us above 500, and it doesn't. So we're shut out 6-0. Not much offense going. Farr, who is back, forgot to mention, he's back off the DL, pitching pretty good. He had a shaky start or two early on, but he's settled down. He gave me 7 innings. Looks like Castro really blew it there too in the bullpen. And it reminds me, I hate to do this, but I wanted to make sure I don't have any personnel problems coming up, and I do. Adam Butler, I want to make sure that he gets an extension offer, and he'll go 3 more years. I like that. He was a good pickup, and he's rated as excellent. He was definitely a big improvement over my last pitching coach. Danny Burrell, he is a pitching coach. I want to offer an extension to Khalil Green for sure. And then Francisco Matos, no. So that looks like that'll do it for now. I'll probably have to realign on the staffing in the off season if I keep playing this one. So let's see if we can win the series here against Miami, and we don't. 5-10. So we're back to 2 games under 500. Vargas, pretty good game, but looks like pitching really took a hit. Gowdy, he only gave up 1 earned run, and he's pitched a lot better. He's up to 13 wins for the year, and he's no longer, I don't know what happened, but his mood really changed. His morale changed throughout the last couple months. Kane had a bad game. Cantelmi has struggled. I moved him out of that starting rotation, and he's probably got some life, you know, I think he's got some potential, but it's going to take a while for him to develop. Oakland made it they clinched the West, and looks like the Cubs are out of the playoffs already. So now we're starting out with 3 games at home against New York. They're in line to possibly make the playoffs. And looks like we're gonna have to move that to a doubleheader. And we win, man. We sweep the doubleheader. Sean Barge, a little bit of an injury there, minimal effect. Let me see if that's going to have any. It influences throwing a little bit. Let's see what's going on here. So Lewis, another good game, 2 for 4. Vanden Heuvel, 2 for 3, and Barge was 3 for 4. That's good for him. Lockfeld picked up his 19th win, so he's one win away from a 20-win season. And Corey Line picked up his 21st save, even though he gave up a run there. A lot of news going on too. It looks like probably going to see a lot of playoff news here now. It's Player of the Week, Steve Key in the American League, National League, Luis Almanzar. Our power rankings, we're at 14 right now, so we've kind of moved up, so we're mainly in the middle of the pack. And Tampa Bay, they've won the East again. Kansas City doesn't make it. That's a shame for them. So I didn't look at the second game of that doubleheader, which is a better game for us. Vargas, another good game. Devers may have picked up another home run, his 22nd of the year. And Urrutia, once again, he won 2 innings and 7 innings. He has looked really good. I hope that's reflected in the offseason. Maybe he'll pick up some ratings boost and turn into a good option in the rotation next year. So last game against New York, we're currently at 500 again. And we lost. We just cannot keep it going. And this is a message from Cannon Smith, who is going to be a free agent after this year. I know he's a fan favorite. I'm going to take a hit on that, but his ratings are just not there. He's 4-star overall from MyScout and OSA, but the numbers just don't reflect it. His catching rating, his arm is okay, and his position rating is fairly solid, but he's only had maybe one or two decent years out of the 6 that he's been my starter offensively. This year he struggled really hard. I think this may have been his worst offensive year, and I played him a lot more, and I said, I should have not platooned him as much and set him more against lefties, but he hasn't had a great year. I don't think I'm going to re-sign him, so catching is going to be definitely something I got to pick up next year. And let's see what we did in this game. Schremsher took the loss, but he didn't pitch too terribly. I mean, 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. Looks like the bullpen kind of lost it for us. We gave up 4 runs in the pen. Not good. Now we're at Washington for 3. They're currently last in the league, and they're probably going to be, or in the division, they're probably going to be remain that way unless they sweep us. And we won the first game. Perfect game from Seth Lonsway at Milwaukee. Looks like he's been a pretty solid pitcher for them in his career. He's up to 80 wins. And Miami wins the East. That victory against, looks like it didn't matter as much, our series against New York. Vargas had a good game. Mast a good game. Barge, let's see if he's healthy. He's got one more day before he's off that injury. And Farr was rattled a little bit. 6 runs in 3 innings, but the bullpen finally came through in this one. Corey Line picks up his 23rd save. And another win, so we are back above 500, first time in a while. Corey Seager's still playing hot, having a great year. He's still a 4.5-star player at 35. Signed a couple more years with them. His numbers this year have been great. I don't know. He's probably in line for some MVP consideration. His career has been pretty solid. I think he's got a great chance of making the Hall of Fame in this playthrough. Correa picked up his 2,500th hit, and he's starting to show some signs of his ratings are starting to slip. But he's had a great career. I don't know if he's going to make 500 home runs, but I think he's going to be another solid Hall of Fame choice for this playthrough. And San Diego lost one of their best players, so he'll be gone for the playoffs. Detroit, they're in the wild card, and we're now guaranteed to be out of the playoffs. And I figured that was going to happen, but at least we're making it. We're a lot more competitive as we go down. It looks like a pretty good offensive game for several people there. Ochoa had a good game. Gowdy picked up his 14th hit. His 14th win. Coriolan his 24th save. Gowdy's pitched a lot better. He's still not the pitcher he was when I signed him to that long-term contract, but 14 wins, believe it or not, that's career high. So at least he's given me some wins in the rotation. Last game against Washington, and we sweep them 6-1. That was good. That might help us with 4 games coming up against Atlanta. That might help us get above 500. If we can at least split that series is the big thing. And looks like he picked up the scouting has been really bad internationally. And Aaron Nola, he's forced to retire. So how did he play out his career? 157 wins, 156 losses, over 2,000 strikeouts, pretty decent ERA. I think the Cubs struggled after they signed him. They weren't the team that they were when he first went to him, so that probably hurt him the last few years of his career. So how do we win this one? 6-1. Lockfeld, did he get his 20th? I think he did. He did. 5 innings, 1 run, so 20 wins for him. That's a big milestone, I'm telling you. For me, I would have to go through the history. I don't know if I've had a 20-game winner in this whole playthrough. It's kind of tough to do sometimes. But he really improved as the year went on. His control got better. He's below 100 walks, which, considering the pace he was on start of the season, that's pretty good. 1.31 whip. I've liked how he's developed. I hope he stays healthy for me. So last series, let's see if we can finish above 500. First game at Atlanta. And we lose 3-4. Juan Elman can come off the DL. So I'm going to give him a little bit of playing time. I think what I'll do is I'll put him there. It's probably not going to matter too much, but and I'm going to let him hit for Nidegger. Not sure what I'll be able to do with him because Mast, I think, has really settled into that starting job in left field. He's a 4-star player, 4.5 overall, or 4.5 potential. I don't know if Mast is going to be healthy long term, so Elman might be someone I want to keep on the roster. So it looks like Chicago White Sox, they made the playoffs, and Milwaukee, they won the Central once again. So we lost this close one. Vargas had a good game. He's picked up his batting average a little bit over the year. Urrutia, another solid start, but Coriolan, unfortunately, is third blown save of the year. So we're a game above 500 with 3 to play, and we lose 2-0. Oh man, don't let it end like this. We really need to win these last couple games. We were just really dominated by Clax. Shrimsher pitched a good game. We just couldn't get any offense going. So this is to see if we get above 500. And it's taking a while. We lose another close one, 2-1. Man. So we are not going to have a winning season. Farr pitched a good game. So this is it. Let's see if we can finish at 500. And we squeak out a win. So we do finish at 500. Not how I wanted it to be, but there was some improvement there. Vargas had a good game to end the year for him. I think he got a lot of playing time this year too, so that's good. He probably led the team in runs scored. Barge, he was 1 for 3. Solid year for him. No, he led the team in runs scored. Looks like 91. Vandenhoeven, a good game. And Gowdy picked up his 15th win. Coriolan his 25th save. So Gowdy, happy or not, he had one of his best seasons. So now we're looking at some of the ending. See how the season's going to end for a lot of teams here. Corey Seager, Player of the Week. He finished strong, had a good season. Josh Ash, who is a big 5-star player for Cincinnati, won it in the National League. Batter of the Month, Corey Seager. Again, Morales in the National League for Miami. He's a good prospect, coming into his own, really. He's a 4.5-star player, been around for a few years. And best pitcher for Tommy, I'm not familiar with him, but he's pitching for that Yankee team, had a good season. And Matt Manning, a good season for him, 17 wins. Rookie Star of the Month, haven't seen his name yet. And then Miranda. So Miami has another good young player there. Good high contact rating. He's probably going to, and some speed. He's the kind of player I'd like to see at the top of the lineup on my team. And the weekly team power rankings, we finished 20th. Not too good. Arizona made the, oh wow, Arizona came from nowhere and won in the West. How about that? By 1 game. So they finished strong. San Diego is going to make the wild card, and it looks like the Braves and the Cardinals are tied right now for that wild card. Unless the Cardinals have a game left. Let's see how it plays out. So 3 teams are currently tied for that last spot. Mets, Braves, Cardinals. So what's it going to mean? Let me see. Looks like it's set in the American League. Tampa Bay, a great year, 105 wins. New York, a great year, 98, but they're going to be forced to do that play-in game. Detroit won 2 games over the White Sox. Oakland won easily in the West. So let's see if I'm going to finish this up. Let's see who wins. Most pitching wins. Hey, I got an achievement. And playoffs begin. Cardinals made it. So I think they probably they played Atlanta and beat them 3-1. Atlanta's got some pretty good pitching, looks like. So that's how it's going to end playoff-wise. So St. Louis is back in the playoffs. Milwaukee, Atlanta, disappointment for them, but they got close. A lot of familiar teams, though. Miami, they might be building a kind of a dynasty there. But Milwaukee, Arizona, San Diego, anyway, they're familiar. And Oakland, who I don't know. Yeah, they made the playoffs. This will be their 4th time they made the playoffs in the last 5 years. So they have built a good team. As far as like Miami, This is only their second time in the playoffs in this playthrough. I felt like they would, you know, their years through the first half of this playthrough were really tough, and I figured they would get some prospects going and build a winner. So that might be what's happening right now. So the last thing I wanted to check in the news here, my player development update. Let's see if anybody made some ground here. Ramos, who's, I think he's signed for another year, but I kind of hope he takes that player option. He's been pretty good overall for me, but he's starting to show some age a little bit. Maylock, his control rating improved, but he's not really developing too well. Mike Farr, he dropped in couple categories. He's now a 3.5 star pitcher for my scout. Ramon Castro, he has picked it up a little bit. I think he's going to be a good lefty to have out of the pen. He had a good year overall. Zach Cantelme, it looks like he's moved up. He's a 3-star with 4 potential right now for my scout. So he just didn't show it during the season, but he has, he's got 3 strong pitches. I like his movement and his stuff rating. If his control gets a little bit better, he might have a chance at making the rotation permanently. Kevin Berger took some drops. That's bad. He was looking good. And then Vandenhoeven, he improved in several categories. This guy next year is going to be his year. I'm hoping that's going to be the case, but I really think it is. My scout, he's about to turn 24. He's a 3-star overall with a 4.5 potential. I trust my scout on this one because even though his potential star ratings are low from OSA, his ratings are still good from him. So give him some playing time. I think he'll develop into a good power hitter. Josh Mast actually lost some. His I rating dropped, and he's now 4-star potential. Suzarek dropped. I think he's not going to be the option, so it's a good thing I've got Vandenhoeven coming along. Let's see who else. Vargas lost some. That's bad. Still think he's solid overall. Had a good year for me. So really in the last, especially in that last half of the year, he, like in August, wasn't too great, but September he really picked it up. Had a good June. I still like him in center and leading off. And looks like Ailman lost some, so he lost some of his speed and I rating. A couple of minors. Austin, his control rating improved finally. He's probably one of my better, if not my best, closing prospect, but he really needs to start developing a little bit better. He's got to get that control up before I'll start him. Pete Goodley was I think a high draft pick for me. Cameron, Tennessee, he struggled a little bit. This guy Deutsch, he struggled a little bit. I'm not seeing too much big movement overall in the minors, but it's been a good year in some ways, bad in others. I'm kind of interested to see if my GM or the owner, if he's going to keep me around, finishing at just 500. I was kind of hoping last year, going so far in the playoffs, that we would get a longer contract, but with that not happening this year, I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. But that's going to end it out, and I think it's going to end out the playthrough. But one of the things I'm thinking about doing is, I don't know if you've got a chance to look at Out of the Park 19 yet. I posted a video last night just looking at that in-game play, the 3D parks and the player animations. Just looks awesome. What I'm thinking about doing, because I saw on the community forums at Out of the Park Developments, looks like a few people had some questions about how to convert or load a league from 18 into 19. So I'm thinking about doing sort of a kind of a tutorial or just a walkthrough of loading an 18 league into 19, and I'll probably use this league here to do that. And once I do that, I may, I know I've bounced around on this, but I might just continue the Phillies playthrough for another season or so in version 19. And a lot of that has to do with, time constraints. If I had the time to do multiple playthroughs and multiple teams, I'd do that. But really, I don't have that much time to devote to this thing. And one of the big things, though, is as you've played this game, if you've played it over the years, you just grow attached to a lot of these players, especially guys you've developed, you've drafted, and some maybe big trades you made, or you've taken a risk on a guy in the waiver wire or the Rule 5 draft, and you really want to see how they develop and how their career goes on. It's hard to just end it. And that's the struggle I have when I'm seeing some of these young guys that are starting to play on this team now, Vargas, Barge, Lockfeld. I really would like to see how their careers develop a little bit. And so that's kind of where I'm torn, leaving this playthrough and going to another team. So at the most, hopefully, you're okay with that. And if you've been watching the games and you're fine with staying with the Phillies, but let me know in the comments. I appreciate the guys who subscribed. That really makes me feel like I'm not just throwing this out there, to be ignored. So it's nice that guys are watching, and a couple comments here and there, and thumbs up. I appreciate that. And if you're watching and you want to subscribe, if you want to keep up tabs on what's going on, I think you get a notice when a new video comes out. And I'll probably try to keep it up as much as I can, 2 to 3 videos a week. I think that's probably a good pace, and hopefully 30 to 35, 25 minutes an episode. Maybe that'll be long enough, or not too long either. But this is going to wrap it up. I'll sim a little bit ahead myself to see how the winners go for the year and how the playoffs turned out. And I'll see you next, more than likely, in Out of the Park Baseball 19. So thanks for watching.